Medieval India, chapter number 5, The Age of Conflict, around 1000 to 1200. The period from 1000 to 1200 saw rapid changes in both the West and Central Asia and in North India. It were these developments which led to incursion of the Turks into northern India towards the end of the period. By the end of the 9th century, the Abbasid Caliphate was in decline. Its place was taken by a series of states ruled by Islamized Turks. The Turks had entered the Abbasid Empire during the 9th century as palace guards and mercenary soldiers. Soon, they emerged as the kingmakers. As the power of the central government declined, provincial governors started assuming independent status. Though for some time the fiction of unity was kept by the Caliph formally granting the title of Amirul Umra, commander of commanders, on generals who were able to carve out a separate spheres of authority. These new rulers assumed the title of Amir at first, and of Sultan later on. The continuous incursion of the Turkish tribesmen from Central Asia, the mercenary character of the Turkish soldiers who were prepared to switch loyalties and abandon an unsuccessful ruler without much thought, the strife between different Muslim sects and between different religions made a period a restless one. Empires and states rose and fell in rapid succession. In this situation, only a bold warrior and leader of men, a person who was an adept in warfare as in withstanding intrigues, could come to the surface. The Turkish tribesmen brought with them the habit of ruthless plunder. Their main mode of warfare consisted of rapid advance and retreat, lightning raids, and attacking anybody of stranglers. They could do this both because of the excellent quality of their horses and their hardihood, so that they could cover incredible distances on horseback. Meanwhile, the breakup of the Gurjara Pratihara Empire led to the phase of political uncertainty in North India and a new phase of struggle for domination. As a result, little attention was paid to the emergence of an aggressive, expansionist Turkish state on the northwestern borders of India. The Ghaznavids. Towards the end of the 9th century, Transoxania, Khorasan, and part of Iran were being ruled by the Samanids, who were Iranians by descent. The Samanids had to battle continually with the Turkish tribesmen on their northern and eastern frontiers. It was during this struggle that a new type of soldiers, the Ghazi, was born. The battle against the Turks, most of whom worshipped the forces of nature and were heathens in the eyes of Muslims, was a struggle for religion as well as for the safety of the state. Hence, the Ghazi was much a missionary as a fighter. He acted as a loose auxiliary of the regular armix and made up for his pay by plunder. It was the resourcefulness of the Ghazi and his willingness to undergo great privations for the sake of the cause which enabled these infant Muslim states to hold their own against the Turks. In course of time, many Turks became Muslims, but the struggle against the renewed incursions of the non-Muslim Turkish tribes continued. The Islamized Turkish tribes were to emerge as the greatest defenders and the crusaders of Islam. But the love of plunder went side by side with the defense of Islam. Among the Samanid governors was a Turkish slave, Al-Gaptan, who in course of time established an independent kingdom with its capital at Ghazni. The Samanid kingdom soon ended and the Ghaznavids took over the task of defending the Islamic lands from the Central Asian tribesmen. It was in this context that Mahmud ascended the throne 998 to 1030 at Ghazni. Mahmud is considered a hero in Islam by medieval Muslim historians because of his stout defense against the Central Asian Turkish tribal invaders. The Ghazi spirit therefore further increased during his reign. Secondly, Mahmud was closely associated with the renaissance of the Iranian spirit, which took place during this period. The proud Iranians had never accepted the Arabic language and the culture. The Samanid state has also encouraged the Persian language and literature. A high watermark in the Iranian Renaissance was reached with Firdausi's Shahnameh. Firdausi was a poet laureate at the court of Mahmud. He transported the struggle between Iran and Turan to mythical times and glorified the ancient Iranian heroes. There was a resurgence of Iranian patriotism, and Persian language and culture now became the language and culture of the Ghaznavid Empire. So much so that Mahmud himself claimed descent from the Iranian legendary king Afrasiab. Thus, the Turks became not only Islamized but Persianized. It was this culture that they were to bring with them to India 2 centuries later. While Mahmud played an important role in the defense of Islamic states against the Turkish tribes and in the Iranian culture renaissance, in India his memory is only that of a plunderer and a destroyer of temples. Mahmud is said to have made 17 raids into India. The initial raids were directed against the Hindu Shahi rulers who at the time held Peshawar and the Punjab. He also fought against the Muslim rulers of Multan who belonged to a Muslim sect or to which Mahmud was bitterly opposed. The Hindu Shahi rulers had been battling against the Ghaznavids ever since the time of Mahmud's father. The Hindu Shahi kings, whose territories had earlier extended from Punjab to modern Afghanistan, had been quick to see the danger to them of the rise of independent state based on Ghazni. The Hindu Shahi king Jayapala had invaded Ghazni in alliance with the son of former governor of Ghazni under the Samind ruler. But Jayapala had to suffer defeat. He had renewed the fight the following year but was again defeated. Mahmud took an active part in these battles as a prince. When Mahmud ascended the throne, he took the offensive against the Hindu Shahis. The Muslim rulers of Multan joined Jayapala in the struggle that followed. In 1001, Jayapala was defeated and taken prisoner, but was released. However, he decided to enter a funeral pyre because he thought that he had disgraced himself. His son Anandapala succeeded him to the throne. A decisive battle between Muhammad and Anandapal was fought in 108 and 9 at Vahind near Peshawar, the Hindu Shahi capital. It seems that many princes of northwestern India, including the rulers of Kannauj and Rajasthan, took part in the battle. The Muslim ruler of Multan also supported Anandapal. Although the Indian forces were more numerous, that includes the Khokars, the brave warlike tribe living in the Punjab, the cavalry charge of Mahmud's mounted archers carried the day. For all practical purposes, the Punjab was now passed into the hands of Ghaznavids, though the Shahi kings were allowed to rule over some portions of their former empire as vassals, and continued till 1020. Multan was also subdued following the Battle of Vahind. The subsequent raids of Mahmud into India were aimed at plundering the rich temples and cities of northern India in order to continue his struggle against his enemies in Central Asia. He did not want to give time to princes in India to regroup and to combine against him. Mahmud's raids into India alternated with battles in Central Asia. For his plundering raids into India, the Ghazis came handy to him. Mahmud also posed as a great but shikan or destroyer of the images for the glory of Islam. From the Punjab, Mahmud raided Nagarkot in Punjab hills and Thanesar near Delhi. His most daring raids, however, were against Kannauj in 1018 and against Somnath in Gujarat in 1025. In the campaign against Kannauj, he sacked and plundered both Mathura and Kannauj and returned via Kalinjar in Bundelkhand loaded with fabulous riches. He was able to do all this with impunity due to the fact that no strong state existed in North India at that time. No attempt was made by the Mahmud to annex any of these areas. Mahmud marched from Multan across Rajputana in order to raid the fabulously rich temple at Somnath without encountering any serious resistance on the way. This was his last campaign in India outside the Punjab. He died at Ghazni in 1030. It is not correct to dismiss Mahmud as just a raider and plunderer. The Ghaznavid conquest of the Punjab and Multan completely changed the political situation in North India. The Turks had crossed the chain of mountains defending India from northwest and could make a deeper incursion into the Gangetic heartland at any time. The reason why they were not able to extend their conquest into the area for 150 years is to be found in the rapid changes which took place in Central Asia as well as in the North India during the period. Following the death of Mahmud, a powerful empire, the Seljuk Empire, came into being. The Seljuk Empire included Syria, Iran, and Transoxania, and contended with Ghaznavids for the control of Khorasan. In a famous battle, Masood, the son of Mahmud, was completely defeated and had to flee to Lahore for refuge. The Ghaznavid Empire now shrunk to Ghazni and the Punjab. Although the Ghaznavids continued to make plundering raids into the Gangetic Valley and Rajputana, they were no longer in a position to pose a serious military danger to India. Simultaneously, a number of new states arose in North India which could counter the Ghaznavid raids. Thank you everyone for tuning in. In the next part, we'll start with the Rajput states on page number 37. Thank you. All the best for exams, and do share and subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Thank you everyone.